Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel, the Castle of Caffeine, as it's known by me. How you guys doing? Welcome to the last day of May. Tomorrow is June, just giving you a head up, whatever that means. Tomorrow is June. For those of you guys living in the past, trying to move forward into the future, welcome to Massive Iron Live. I'm here every Friday. We're here every Friday talking lifting. Nobody wants to work anyway, so please just shut down work, call it off, and tune in. I'm glad to have you guys here. I've been doing this forever, and I'll keep grinding till like there's only one question, like maybe in 2032, and then maybe I'll shut it down, but until then I'm going to keep coming here and annoying the internet with my presence, so to speak. So how's everybody doing? If you're new here, a couple of housekeeping things, and maybe I'll tell a little bit of a story regarding the 405-pound bench press and a hate comment I just got. So I'll tell you that real quickly here in just a second. So if you are new here, please post up a question. Please come back. I'd love to help. I coach for a living. This is what I do. Try to help people improve their body composition. Try to help people improve their strength levels. Try to help people improve their massive mental strength. I also dabble in ultra running and long distance running, and that sort of thing. So if you're interested in that, I can help you as well. If you post up a question and your question does not go through, try shortening your question or rewording your question. YouTube can be fickle, meaning sometimes for whatever reason, questions don't go through. It's not me throttling you or screening you or censoring you or anything like that. So if you can't get a question to go through, please check out the Instagram. I've been the barman. Come over, follow me on Instagram. I would love to connect with you. I post a lot of content over there as well. That doesn't make it over here onto the YouTube. So how are we doing, folks? How are we doing? I got a tattoo this week. It's been, what was the last one? 1992. It's been 32 years. I finally got a cover up of my peace sign. And I got about 4 hours of work that I got in. So I finally got a tattoo. I'm working on that. You guys want a funny story before we begin? You want a wacky hater comment, or like a wacky, you're an idiot, big, hairy, ugly dude comment? So I posted this morning on Instagram, and for reference, we'll pull it up, shall we? Shall we just pull it up on the old Instagram Aruski? I posted it into the community tab here as well. So hold on one second. And we'll talk about the hater. Maybe the hater will show up. That would be awesome. How's it going, Fat Chick in a Barn? Let's see. Where's the post? Hold on one second. We're going to find it, I promise. So one thing I've learned from many, many years of coaching, and I want to preface this. Let me pull this post up real quick. And let me get this annoying banner thing going. Where's the banner? Go away. And present. Share screen. Don't go anywhere. There we go. All right. So I've been coaching for a long time. I started with platform coaching and powerlifting. I'm not specifically a power lifter, but I did do a lot of powerlifting coaching. I've coached probably at least 25 people on the platform and directly, like hands-on. I've also coached Special Olympics, and coach now over 1,000 people online. So you learn some things when you coach online. And one of the things I learned is that a 400-pound deadlift, 225-pound bench, and 315 squat is a pretty darn good accomplishment, right? I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not trying to lower the bar on strength standards, but I'm saying if you get there, you're above most gym lifters. You're doing really, really good, and you should be proud of your accomplishment. So I would say the 225-pound bench is generally the easiest. The 400-pound deadlift, maybe about 20 to 25% of lifters get there. Lifters that come to me, they're all improving, but it's just kind of a hard thing to get to. And a 315-pound quality squat is pretty rare. I mean, it's pretty rare. So that's a nice achievement. But of course, I got a hater comment on. I posted this on the community tab here, and I got a hater comment. And I don't know if I can even pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm not going to bore you guys to death with a hater comment, but I thought it was pretty funny. And let's see. So the hater comment, where is it? Where does it go? Where did it go? It was something like, basically, somebody said they haven't deadlifted in 3 years, and that they could deadlift 400 right now. And basically, I was an idiot. Basically, right? Basically, I was an idiot. So, here it is. Lee, I haven't trained for 3 years, and I guarantee I could pull 405 right now. Okay, Lee, you're exaggerating. Yeah, I'm exaggerating for views, right? I'm going to exaggerate for views just so I get fat stacks of cash, Lee. So definitely not exaggerating, Lee. If you truly feel I'm an idiot and don't know what I'm talking about, feel free to unsubscribe and have a nice day. Anyway, that's the pleasant comment I left for Lee. Lee thinks I'm exaggerating, apparently, that it's hard to get to a 405-pound deadlift. And it is not, definitely not an exaggeration. So anyway, let's cruise on. Let's cruise on and jump into things. Happy Friday, Steve. Assassin was first today from Team Massive. Hope all is well. Have a great weekend. Much love from your favorite assassin. Thanks and all that good stuff back to you. And have fun at Kicky tomorrow. And have fun with your beasts. Keep us updated on the beasts. Dumbbells and Donuts from Team Massive Iron. We have a community for those that want to join, and a lot of folks here are from that community. It is called teammassiveiron.com. It's a website. Head over there now. We'll wait for you. Okay, we'll wait. Are you there yet? All right, so Dumbbells and Donuts, happy Friday, and Massive Animals. Barbell Bryce from Team Massive. Enjoy the weekend, my massive friends. Yvonne, what's going on, Yvonne? Good morning, Team Massive. And Big Billy Baker. Happy Freitag, Team Massive. Cheers, everyone. Dumbbells and Donuts. What's the strangest thing? I like it when we start strange. First legit question, we're going strange. That you've ever been asked to collaborate on or push through your YouTube influence. You know, it's funny. I occasionally touch on this, but not a lot because it's more tedious than anything. But when you have a channel that gets, where is it? You can see it up there, my award for, or my thing, my plaque for getting 100,000 subscribers. When you get to that level, you kind of, I don't know, you get a lot of emails. I get at least 2 emails a week by somebody wanting me to partner with them and do a video which features their stuff, right? And I'm sure you guys see some influencers doing videos that push stuff and partnership programs and all that. And I'm not making social commentary on who does what. I'm just not going to push crap I don't use. And I have no interest in trying your massager and making a video about your massager. Or I get some pretty expensive stuff people want me to try that they'll give me. And I just want you guys to know, I've turned it all down. I've had $3,000 rowing machines and these elaborate home gym things you put on your wall, and you'd have the body monitoring thing, you know, upwards of $4,000 or $5,000. I've had them offer me to do it as in return for a review. My website host, I've had Shopify ask me, they would pay me $3,000 to do a video on my channel telling about how I run my business with Shopify. And even though I love Shopify and I use it and I'm talking about it now, I'm not going to waste anybody's time with that stuff. It's hard enough getting people to listen to you and because there's so many voices out there in fitness. Everybody with some glistening pecs and 6-pack abs has a channel, and they're presenting information. And I don't ever want to do that stuff. I want to keep it on the information. It's hard enough. Oops. It's hard enough, just working with information. But then if you're going to dilute your channel. So what's the strangest thing? I don't really know, man. I get a lot of crap. The oddest thing I get is a lot of female clothing brands wanting me to be an influencer. I get that all the time, man. Like beauty bras would like you to be an influencer. Like, what are you saying? What are you saying? Beauty bras? Like, I don't know, whatever they are, but I get a lot of that stuff. That's probably the funniest stuff. I get invites from people, I get invites from, I'm not even the biggest channel, so I don't even know what it's like to be an athlete next to Greg Doucette. I'm just telling you what it's like to be a small fry, but I get podcast invites and all kinds of interesting things. Big Justin Jones. Good morning, big, hairy, ugly dude and Team Massive. What do you recommend for reverse dieting? I don't recommend reverse dieting to get back to bulking after a cut. Reverse dieting, don't recommend it. It's a lot of overcomplicated hoopy poopy, right? Hoopy poopy. It's just a time waste. We don't need it. If you want to do it, go ahead. But, once you are done with a cut, what I have clients do is go where we think maintenance is for about 5 days. So we're gonna work on that together. And if any of you out there in this box called the YouTube need me to help you figure out maintenance, I'd be happy to do that. I answer questions for free on Instagram at the Barman. So if what we do with my clients is we generally go right around maintenance, where we think maintenance is for 5 days. Kind of weigh in every day just to see if the weight spikes up a little bit of water weight and then levels off, and we adjust from there. Reverse dieting, after you finish a cut, I'm just being honest. You can let me know what you think. Weigh in on the comments or whatever. After you finish a cut, okay, a cut's hard enough. Now we're going to spend 4 weeks dialing calories up. That's like an extended cut, right? You're not doing metabolic damage by being in a cut. That's a bunch of hookah. What you do see when you are a bodybuilding competitor, and I have seen this, is I've seen a fair share of bodybuilding competitors compete and then bounce back in weight like 15 to 20 pounds in the month after they compete, right? So I think some of this control and regulation can have some value for a competitor, but for the average schmo, I mean, we don't need to do all that stuff. Big Justin Jones. Should I hold a second or two at the top of a leg extension? Not really. I mean, if you get to the point where a lot of times, here's the issue. I'm not saying you guys shouldn't do this, but I want you to be aware of this. When you're holding at the top of a lift, like a row or a leg extension, there's a good weight that the hold is going to become the limiting factor for progression. Meaning you might be able to push the weight up with your legs, but the hold is harder than the execution of the leg extension. So being able to hold it might become the limiter rather than your power on the leg extension. Does that make sense? Same thing on a barbell row or a dumbbell row. If you're going to hold, your ability to hold that weight at contraction is probably going to be harder than your ability to generate power. Now, if you want to do it for a split second, yes. The problem is when we get into the business of holds, we generally are holding with the wrong area. Let me give you an example on rows. And I posted on this yesterday on social media, and it was like a fart in church. Everyone just kind of ignored the post other than a few people because it's not a sexy topic. But When you do a dumbbell row or a seated cable row or a pendlay row or whatever type of row, if you hold that contraction, most people are holding by pulling on the weight, right? Okay, right? Makes sense. You hold by pulling on the weight. Wrong. Okay. When you are holding, you have to drive the elbows back to hold. You have to be able to feel your back contracting. If you're going to do a seated cable row and you're going to hold right here with your hands, you're really just gripping and holding with your arms and your biceps and your forearms. If you're going to pull back and hold, if you drive your elbows back, you have to hold by pushing your elbows back, right? And feeling your back contraction and maintaining that back contraction at the contraction point. Does that make sense? So if you're going to do a leg extension, it's kind of the same thing. You can do a hold, but you need to focus on the quad contraction and maintaining the quad contraction and not just trying to hold the weight up, with your ankles and your feet. It has to be focused or else it's rather pointless. Does that make sense, guys? All right. Big Joe B, client of mine. Good morning, Team Massive. JR, thanks for joining in. Shelly, a client of mine, new client this week. Got to talk to Shelly on the phone. It was a highlight on her birthday. Good morning, Team Massive. Happy live day. Shelly turned 36 this week, 36. Jay, any words on an ex-president charged with 34 felonies? I don't do political stuff. I welcome off topic. Neutral, let's just say neutral. Politically neutral. We all will agree that it's going to be a very, very interesting election. That's for sure. Oops.
I can't connect to your Wi-Fi network. You can find setup instructions in the help section of your Alexa app.
Sorry, I said the word election and she thought it was something else. All right. Happy Friday, Stein. How's it going, Stein? Done deals out there chasing plus ones. What else is there to life? Well, there's a few other things in life that are better than that, but we all know what they are. Done deal. Iron or bumpers? Massive rubber doesn't sound right. No, we save the massive rubber for the things that are more fun in life than chasing plus ones. If you know what I'm saying. All right, something like that. Iron, massive iron, or no, we don't do massive rubber in the gym. That could probably get you kicked out. I like iron. I'm old school. I like the sound of cling clang and plates and grabbing iron and all that kind of stuff. I have some rubber plates here. I mean, during the pandemic, it was hard to get plates, so you had to get what you could as far as weights. I have some, but I'm always going to get iron. This is massive iron. In the gym, it's massive iron. Outside of the gym, it's massive rubber. Chuckle, chuckle. All right. Good morning, Team Massive. Bob's a client of mine. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Friday, Team Massive. Is it bad form for my head to slightly come? No, don't worry about it. This is, bad form is when you don't control the weight down. Bad form is when you're lowering the weight and your feet are doing some kind of a polka dance, right? Bad form is when you're bouncing the bar off your chest and you're not maintaining control. If, my head stays off the bench when I bench. I have more back mass and stuff like that. So it's hard to get my head back on the bench, literally, when I bench. So no, it's not bad form at all. That's just whatever's comfortable for you. Head back, head forward, whatever. Just don't look around left or right when you're benching. Whenever you are doing a big compound lift, you don't want to look like a deadlift. You don't want to look to the side, squat, look to the side, because where the head goes, that stress normally transfers to your lower and mid back. So if you're in the middle of a lift and you look to the side, you're going to get some odd stresses in your mid and lower back. And that's just a dangerous thing to do. So do not do that. Ghost face. Opinions on weight loss drugs such as Magajugario. Also, I'm just being silly, folks. Mounjaro. Also, what is the most weight you saw lifted while coaching the Special Olympics? Weightlifting drugs. There are some people that have reached a state of urgency where their health is not on the line, where they need emergency medical care. There's things like type 2 diabetes and neuropathy or limb loss is a real thing. So are heart attacks, cancer risks, and all that good stuff. So if someone takes a drug for weight loss, that's between them and their doctor and their deity, right? None of my business. Will it ever replace a lifestyle change? No, we all know that. But still, there are some cases where we need to get the weight off, and you need to shoot first and aim later. You know what I'm saying? You need to get the weight off and then worry about the lifestyle change later. Excuse me. So I don't really get into that world. I'm a lifter. You do you. The most weight I saw lifted at the Special Olympics, I saw some pretty impressive things. I had a 125-pound guy benching 225, and this was after like 4 to 5 months of training, right? I had a big old tater, big old. He was a man, I would say big old boy, affectionately, but he was pulling 500 pounds. He was like 260, and that's after 5 months of training. And I saw some pretty impressive things. I saw one of the guys I worked with was born with a lot of limb deformities, and he's had tons of hip and knee surgeries, and his arms, and one arm was a little bit inverted and it was harder to grab the bar. He still got to a 300-pound deadlift. He did, because he just desperately wanted it. I had a guy named John that had limited cognitive function, very limited, right? Very, very limited cognitive function, but he liked picking things off the ground. He was deadlifting like 250 pounds. So I saw blind lifters doing amazing things. Just a lot of wonderful things. And the question of the day, why were Don Morocco's shoulders so massive? I don't know. Big Don Morocco, he used to pound on Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Did Don Morocco, he had to work out. What's Don Morocco workout plan? Don Morocco reveals his massive bench. The magnificent Morocco. Yeah, he was. You guys know who Don Morocco was, the old lifter. He took a little, as they say in the gas industry, took a little bit of gas. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if we can. Let me get all these ads off here. I'll share a picture for those of you that didn't live in the old world like me. The Wild West, when a lot of our heroes were taking steroids. Right, Hulk Hogan, right? So Don Morocco, you could tell he's pretty darn juicy. He was a little bit chunk at times, but Don had the package, the big old slab of chesticles, some good arms, some good delts, some good trapezoids. I don't know if this says his workout or not. Donna, Mr. Fuji, Donna. I thought we were going to get his workout. I don't really care about that, right? Don Morocco body change. I got some videos up here about his workout, but I never actually looked. But his workout was probably testosterone for breakfast, heavy iron for lunch, and a lot of food for dinner. Paul, what's going on, Paul, from Team Massive? Halfway through the year. We have 7 months left: June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So, Paul, you're almost halfway through the year. You got a month to go until around July 4th time. Are there any problems with starting my pull days? Yes. Yes. All kinds of problems. Never do that. You never want to go into heavy compound movements with fatigue biceps or triceps. That's not the way you specialize. If you want to prioritize your biceps and triceps, you need to get strong first and foremost on your presses and your pulls, your rows and pull-ups. Get them strong. And then if you want to add a junk day or arm day on Saturday to add in a little bit of extra work, you can. But you never, this is a commandment, and I rarely give commandments, but you never do your bicep work and get your biceps fatigued before heavy back work. That's like riding your horse backwards uphill in a rainstorm. And it's starting to sleep, and you're out of food, and you're hungry, and you're just feeling dumb. No, don't do it. Don't ever do it. Bacon. Any good recommendations for barbell and dumbbell hamstring exercises? I'm limited to a home gym setup. There is a variation. You can do a single leg dumbbell RDL where you put your butt against the wall. That's a variation you can do with the dumbbell if you want to get away from the Romanian deadlift. You can do the stiff leg deadlift where your hips are slightly below your shoulders and you're pulling the bar off the ground. It's not specifically an uber hamstring exercise, but it's not bad. You can put your barbell in a corner, right, or in your rack and secure it somehow, or put your lower your catch pins if you can. Put your heels under there and use bands and do kind of like ghetto glute ham raises. You can do Dimmel deadlifts, which will incorporate the hamstrings to a minor degree. Search DIMEL. Usually do those for 15 to 20 reps each. And you can do a dumbbell leg curl where you grab the dumbbell with 2 feet and curl it up. That can be kind of dangerous at times, depending on your dumbbells, because you risk dropping them on your booty and your lower back, which would not be a fun day. So yeah, there are some other things you can do. If anybody has any other suggestions for the old home gym, just post them up in here. You can do banded curls if you want. What do you get? What do you call those things? Monkey feet? You get a pair of monkey feet. You could do those as well. Big Sam Waddington. Let's say on a bulk, you hit 250 pounds on your bench for 6 reps. Nice work. Then the next 2 weeks, you hit 5. What is going on? Just random bad luck. You can't overanalyze fluctuation. If you are following your progression approach, consistent with your nutrition, and you're consistent with all the other minor things, relatively consistent with sleep and stress and electrolytes and and time of lifts and meal timing and that sort of thing, then that's a normal fluctuation. It will come back. You just have to deal with it, because the difference between 5 and 6 reps can sometimes be a pound to 2 pounds. And for some reason, maybe your immune system was fighting something. Maybe your central nervous system got angry at you because you had to do 8 hours of lawn work and it carried over for 8 more days or whatever. And you were a little bit under for whatever. The body is very complex. Don't overthink this stuff, guys. Cycles come and go. But once you gain strength, it's always going to be yours in hand, so to speak. So even if you lose it, if you're doing the right thing, it'll come back. Skinotch. Is it bad form to feel my lower back a little bit? You want to brace and you want to put yourself in a position on the leg curl where you feel you can maximize hamstring use. So a lot of times on a leg curl, regardless of the method you're using, seated, standing, lying, banded, whatever, I will contort a little bit, get a little bit of lower back rounding. You can feel your lower back when you're doing that, to put your booty in a good position where you get a good leverage feel on your hamstrings. As long as you're working it with your hamstrings, it doesn't matter if you round your back a little bit. All right, guys, we're about 30 minutes in. I'm going to get to all your questions. Please, if you have questions, post as many as you want. I will stay on as long as you have questions. Let me get a drink here real quick. You guys doing anything exciting for the weekend? All right. I'm finishing my book. That's what I'm doing. There is a pre-order available for my book. I did take that down off Instagram, but if you are interested, you can search Massive Omnibus on my website, superlivingtoday.com. All right. And you guys watching, post up your questions now. I will stay on as long as you have questions. Nolan, face pulls. How much external rotation should be involved? Meaning, how far should your hands be pulled upwards and straight back? See, there are some things that get arbitrary in lifting. Like, for example, lifters can turn dips into, some lifters, some experts can turn dips into how deep should you go, how deep, how deep, the deeper the better on lifts, the deeper the better on squats, arbitrary things that don't really matter as much, right? On face pulls, how far should your hands be pulled upwards and straight back? On a face pull, the key thing for you is to feel the rear delt working. Okay. All the form cues and all the blah, blah that goes on in the lifting world. For you, based on your limb lengths and leverages, you want to feel the rear delts work, right? You want to be able to feel them work, and it might take time. So when you are pulling, whether it's here, right? Wherever you're pulling, I could feel my rear delts work there. Just pull back naturally, right? You don't want to start rotating your elbows back from this position. Whether you pull here or whether you pull here, you don't want to get here or here and then focus on rotating or pushing your elbows forward. That shoulder rotation isn't going to add value to the face pull, and I hope that helps a little bit. Barbell Beauty, happy Friday, Team Massive. Thanks for tuning in. Heavy Duty, Josh, what's your thoughts on HIIT? One set to failure. I have no interest in it. It's extremism. It's minimalism. Anything can work a little bit if you work it. You're pushing. So I don't like training to failure as a concept because the demands of every exercise are different. Posterior chain exercises such as squats, deadlifts, RDLs should never be pushed to failure unless you're competing to win the world record, right, or at a contest. So there's no value in pushing them to failure. You want to instead, in the massive iron world, we use a concept called push for as many quality reps as possible, stopping the set when you feel like your form starts to break down or when you feel like you're going to fail on the next rep. There's no value in the failure rep because usually it's just a half-assed can of mess, right? So once you become a more experienced lifter, you'll know on a row or a pull, when your speed slows on the bench, you're going to fail on the next rep. And you might get a grinder on bench, and there might be some value on it, and it's okay to grind a failure on bench. On rows, when speed starts to slow, that's usually form failure. You can do a cheat row if you want on the next rep or two, and there's no harm in that. But you do have to take every exercise in a case-by-case basis when it comes to training to failure. Also, anytime we seek black or white, we have to be really, really careful. You want to try HIIT for a season, go ahead. But I will tell you, the claims of HIIT are super exaggerated. It did become a cult, and they did call them HIIT Jedis for a reason, because there was this belief that the body is fragile and only steroid users use extra volume, and the drum was beaten like, if you do one set to failure, this is going to turn around your results. Here is why some of these guys started to see better results, not the best or optimal results, but better results. And this is the key point I want you guys to understand. If you look at like Stuart McRoberts' books, he wrote the Hard Gainer book, and while they're not specifically HIT or HIT, they kind of provide a really good example, and they're in that same family, really good example of minimalism and why minimalism can work. You take a group of gym lifters that have a poor exercise selection, poor consistency, no progression approach, and they're not pushing sets deep. You take them and you put them on a minimalist type of program that is focused on progressive overload, that has a good exercise selection. Now they become consistent and they're pushing sets deep and they're nailing their nutrition. Of course, they're going to see results because their program before was, as we say in the academic world, shit. Okay. This is in academia. We have this term in academia where when the average gym lifter before, their program was shit. Okay. I'm just making all it up. I'm not actually part of academia. I don't do anything science-based at all. Anyway, if your program is crap and you move to something with structure, with a progression approach, with a quality exercise selection, with good nutrition and with good consistency, and you're pushing sets deep, of course you're going to see an improvement in results. And that's where the HIT people kind of latched on to, like a barnacle on a whale. This program gave me results. Therefore, this program is the one, right? When in reality, in the massive iron world, we look at the mechanisms that drive any program. In my world, we call these the pillars of success, and they will be in my book. The pillars of success drive any reasonable workout, even poorly designed ones like HIT. The pillars of success are the things I just talked about: being consistent in your training, having focused, purposeful nutrition, having a progressive overload approach, training hard, having a good exercise selection, all those types of things of reasonable form. If you have all those things in place, then you're going to move forward and see results on basically any program, even if the program sucks. That's something that flew over the head of the HIT community, but that is something that is a cornerstone of everything that I teach. So I hope that helps a little bit. Dumbbells and donuts as opposed to barbells and beignets. Really enjoying the Viking press, and glad you worked it into the program. What are some other lesser seen lifts that you enjoy? Good question. What do I enjoy? I enjoy the Arnold press, and I provide that as an option to many. The Arnold press. There was one point in time where an influencer, a major influencer, was like, this exercise is crap. Like, no exercise with progressive overload is crap. It's simply a variation, and it's a reasonable variation. I enjoy it. So that's one that I enjoy for shoulders. Chest, I don't really like dumbbell flies, and I don't really like cable crossovers because they don't always feel good and they have a very limited progression opportunity. I think the barrel press, it's a newer lift on the scene, but I think it's a lesser seen lift according to your question, and I think it has value. The back, I think when it comes to rowing, I'm not against mind muscle stuff, right? But when you lay side by side, the weight being used on the average dumbbell row compared to the obsession and weight being used on a barbell bench, there's usually a huge gap. We tend to really castrate the dumbbell rows to the point where we are so weak on the dumbbell rows, we fear power, that they're really not doing much at all other than giving us some feely, wheelie. I think on quads that lunges are underrated. A lesser known lift, the leverage squat or pendulum squat, is usually as good or better for most lifters than the squat. I said it, but it is a quality exercise that you can really overload. I'm not saying you shouldn't do squats. You should do both. But there you have it. Some of my favorites. Big Drew. What's the best and worst excuse for not lifting or eating right? My goodness. Man, I get... when you coach, no matter who you are, you get things that pop up. Excuse me. So, I don't know. One that I don't like is deflection. When I ask somebody, hey man, how was fast food and junk food choices this week? And the response is deflection. I did pretty good. Okay. So, what is pretty good? So I will say, if you ate out fast food, where specifically did you lift, or where specifically did you eat? Oh, my choices were pretty good. No, I asked for a specific and you gave me a vagary, right? You responded vague. When somebody responds vague, it's like you see smoke, there's fire, right? So, those types of things, when somebody responds vague, like I'm there in your corner. I'm there to help. I can't help you unless you're honest with me. I'm not here to judge you. Man, if you ate 10 tons of French fries, let me know. Let's get on with it. Let's figure out something we can do to improve upon that next time. But don't waste time. Don't waste your time. Don't waste the coach's time. One of my least favorite is this one. I was rushed this morning and didn't have time to step on the scale. You know what happens? This happens when I hear this excuse. 90% of the time it's on Monday morning. After some kind of wackiness on the weekend. I don't know about you, but even on my busiest days, my scale's sitting right there next to the pooper bowl. Not the Super Bowl, the pooper bowl, the toilet bowl. Like I can pee and then I can step on the scale. It takes me about, 2-3 seconds. When someone says they were too busy to step on the scale, I smell bullshit. Okay? So I don't like that excuse at all. One thing I get very commonly is, especially on Monday, my scale battery died, right? People buying time so they don't have to step on the scale again on Friday so they can flush that water weight away. I've seen this so many times over and over again. I know the deflection. People are trying to push me away and buy themselves time so they can get their weight down. I'm not the enemy in coaching. I'm here to help you. Nothing excites me more than helping people get results. Struggling is not something people should ever feel shame about, right? A good coach is not going to shame you. It took me 17 years after I got out of the military to unlock the piece of the puzzle, trapped in depression and confusion. I was exercising, I was running, I was doing all the things, but my weight slowly went up. I've been there. I understand. I do. A good coach is not there to shame you. They're there to help you, pick you up, help you move forward, lock arms with you, and let's go. I understand you got struggles. I do too. I have struggles every single day. I have struggles every single day. If you see anybody on this influencer box that puffs up their chest and walks around like Superman or Wonder Woman, acting like they don't struggle and posing with their booties and posing next to their Ferraris and doing all this stuff because they got cash money from looking like a Greek god, right? If they act like they don't have struggles, they are full of shit, right? Everybody has struggles. It's the human condition. Anybody that is disingenuous and pretends they don't have struggles, that's not a good coach. That's somebody that's full of shit and their ego's so big they don't want to let you in. They're insecure. They're afraid. Hey, I'm not here to psychoanalyze people. I'm just telling you what's real. I'm just being real with you. Fat Chick in a Barn. How's it going? Good to have you here. Flight. Hey, Steve. What are your views on fasted workout in the morning? I will say this, Flight. There's only lifting normally for progressive overload and then not lifting normally. Not lifting normally is just basically maintaining. Lifting normally for progressive overload, which is lifting heavy, is the land we want to live in. When you get up, one thing you want to do is have water straight out of bed. You don't have to overhydrate, but you want to have some water, 8-10 ounces straight out of bed. And you also want to have some sodium or electrolyte powder straight out of bed, because basically salt, sodium is the energy electrolyte. If you don't get it in, there's a good chance it's going to contribute to you being flat. So if I had to bound out of bed at 5 or 6 and go work out at like 6:30, what would I do? I'll get up. I'd slam 10 ounces of water with an electrolyte powder, LMNT or something similar. I'd take a caffeine pill. You can get caffeine tablets. They're pretty darn cheap, and they're handy dandy to keep around. So instead of doing a pre-workout and electrolytes, you can do some electrolytes and a caffeine tablet. Boom, all done. And if you are able to get in 100 grams of simple carbs, just to, you know what I'm saying, half a banana. You don't want to go into a workout super full and digesting something that's fast digesting, something that'll hit you where it matters. Simple sugars, could be anything really. That's what I would do. Can I do conjugate fasted and on a low sugar diet? Yeah, absolutely. You can. I spent 2 years when I was losing weight not eating white sugar, white flour. So you can definitely be effective. And I was at some of my best physique-wise when I was at low sugar. And yes, you can do it fasted. Just follow the salt rule. You want to have some salt throughout the day because that will help you with energy. Big Bill Leach. Good morning from Phoenix. Our first 110-degree day. Maybe here late next week. That does not sound fun. But it's a dry heat, right, Bill? Hey, Big Hairy Ugly Dude and Team Massive. Would you say a 220-pound bench is the equivalent of around 80% of natural potential when the other lifts are in line? No. Muscle-wise, no. Most of my guys I'd bench around 225 are not at 80% natural potential. They are along the journey, but it's definitely not 80%. No, I would not say that. But it's a good question. I experienced for the first time a burning sensation. I had to kind of there for a minute, because when we read burning sensation, we're like, where is it located? Anyway, just humor. Burning sensation in my stomach when lifting. Is it because of what or when I ate? Sometimes things like this are just random, and we have to always consider the fact that potentially it's just random. The fact that you said that for the first time, The body is so random. It's completely random. You can just experience something completely random for no reason at all. If it continues to happen, then we will have to analyze our eating habits prior to pre-workout. I am no medical doctor. I'm no gastroenterologist or whatever they are. But if something is happening, then we probably have to change our food choices and rule out any issues. Does that make sense? You don't want to go in your workouts too full. Definitely not, because that stuff will sit in your stomach and it can create cramping. Because when you start lifting, your body has to determine whether it's going to use your blood for digestion or for cooling and for your muscles. And your muscles will always win. Okay. And digestion will always slow. So there's a chance we have to look at what you ate and when you ate it. I agree with your take on reverse dieting. I spent way too long putting calories up on a couple of years ago after a long cut. It should have gone straight to maintenance. Time away from a cut, time away from building is never good. I know just from working with people that cuts are far more mentally challenging than we like to pretend. It's just a simple cut, right? It's not usually that simple. And we don't need to prolong the torture by backing you slowly out over the course of weeks. So I'm glad that makes sense to you. Neo, what's going on? Neo, client of mine. Hello, humanity. Neo, I watched the Dallas Mavericks beat the Minnesota Timberwolves last night. I'm a Doncic fan. Don't hold it against me. I like watching him, and I hope he crushes. Him and Kyrie crush Boston. That's all I'll say. Ernie, what's going on, big cat? Dumbbells and donuts. Wait, you're saying there's something more important than plus ones? Okay, I'm going to say this with tact. There are two words that come to mind. One's a 3-letter word. One's a 4-letter word. The 3-letter word starts with S and ends with X. And the 4-letter word starts with F, has 2 O's in the middle, and ends in a D. Because if you don't have food, then your plus ones, you're going to die, I think. And then if you don't have the S with the letter in the middle and then the X at the end, if you don't have socks on, your feet are probably going to get cold. Will you be watching the Champion League tomorrow? I have a busy day, and I probably will not. So you guys have to keep me updated. I'm still trying to figure out the Champions League. I'm still trying to figure out the dynamic of soccer overseas, footy, right? So I've been watching the Premier League on and off for 2 years, on and off. Been following. Actually, Martin Dumbbells and Donuts gave me a Tottenham hat and some other goodies, a mug. I actually wore it running this week. But I do not, beyond that, I still am piecing together the world soccer scene, world footy scene, because I don't understand what the Champions League is, who gets in it, that sort of thing. Is it possible to bias growth in the upper portion of the tricep near the elbow? No, don't overthink this stuff. You need to hit everything with a big grouping of quality exercises. And if there is an area of the triceps that is small or not relatively the same size, it's just your natural shape. It's just how things look. You can only make things bigger. You can't change the shape. If you have a question, though, I'd be happy to take a look and give you a neutral view. But use a good quality selection of exercises. MCM147. How often should you rotate lifts? You don't need to rotate lifts at all. I'm in my first year of lifting. You don't ever need to rotate lifts. You don't ever need to. Okay. If you want to occasionally try a new lift, you can. I mean, that we call that training evolution. That's perfectly fine. But you don't need to rotate lifts. There's no urgent need at all. Trying things is part of the fun of lifting, but you don't need to change lifts, especially if you have a grouping of lifts you like. Carl, letting the head come forward on chest exercises allows for a better stretch and power for me. It's pretty common if you don't have short arms. I have longer arms, so that would make sense. But again, there's other factors involved, like if you have a big, thick back or fat back, you can't really get your head down. And I have a big back. So anyway. Hello, I have a problem with the traffic tip in push press. Specifically, when the barbell passes the eyes, do you know any way to improve this range? You mean coming down? Like, are you struggling with bringing it all the way down? I don't know if that's what you mean. And I'm assuming when you say traffic, you could mean like range of motion. One thing, if this is the case, and if not, please correct me. I would recommend doing a seated press where the seat back's angled like 70, 75 degrees so you can push straight up and down. If you're completely upright on a seated press, you have to push it a little bit forward and around your head. Does that make sense? Because if you're right here, the barbell is going to be forward. Your elbows you're going to have some internal shoulder rotation. Naturally, you'll be fighting that internal shoulder rotation because the weight is forward. On a push press, how we fight that internal shoulder rotation, this is external shoulder rotation, internal shoulder rotation. How we fight that on a push press is we naturally arch our back so we can get our wrists above our elbows more. Okay, and then we can push from a more leverage-friendly position. Some people think that when you do a seated pin press or seated overhead press, that reclining back is cheating, okay? But if you think about it, when you're doing a push press, if you're not leaning back slightly and you're doing this, you don't realize you're doing it because you're trying to get your wrists above your elbows so you can push with a better leverage position. And so you're not pushing the bar into your chin. That's naturally what we do. Look at somebody on a push press or military press from the side, and you will see that's what they're doing. You want to see wrists basically above the elbows, and you're going to have to lean back slightly or arch your lower back slightly. So what you see on a seated press is that if somebody leans back, they think they are cheating. Okay? And this is actually a good topic for a video on a seated press. I'm writing this down. When we lean back, some think we are cheating. This is a good video topic, which I've never talked about before. So, where are we? There we are. I would, if you're having a problem lowering it, I would consider a seated press with the back angled 70% so you can just kind of get some stability in your back, get some support on your back, and then press overhead. If I am misunderstanding your question, please correct me. Fat chick in a barn, exciting things for the weekend, manual labor. I thought manual labor was the president of Peru, but apparently not. Apparently it's something you do on the weekend called work. Bad humor, bad jokes. Thank you. I'll be here all day until you unsubscribe and run away. All right, Gamboni Law. If you are training for a weight class specific sport, should progressive overload still be the goal or maintaining strength and using the weight to improve conditioning? I guess you want to get stronger, but there's a point in time where if you are like doing judo or jiu-jitsu or boxing or whatever, where you add a really quality strength base, during the off season, you probably want to push for progression, not during the season. Does that make sense? You don't want to do so to the point where it beats up your body, because the goal is the sport, right? So you want to have reasonable progression. But there can come a point where you're pretty darn strong and you might not need extra strength. Does that make sense? OC Quiet Man, yo, what's up? Barbell Bryce, my back workout from yesterday with deficit deads. 2x5, stiff leg deads, 2x5, weighted pull-ups, 3x8, cable rows, chest support rows, bulldozers, cats. Yeah, it's reasonable. You have a lot of lower back intense stuff, but your back seems to handle it well, so no issues. Pull-ups, as long as you got good extension on your pull-ups, very nice. 2 rows in the mix. So basically you have 2 rows, quality rows. You have a pull-up, a vertical pull, 2 horizontal pulls, and then you have the deficit deadlift, which is going to hit your upper back. The stiff leg deadlift's more lower back. So, yeah, it's definitely reasonable. Hey, hello, coach. Is it a good idea running full body 6 days a week? I have a program called the Drunk Russian, which is 5 days a week. You could potentially run it 6 days a week as long as your exercise balance makes sense. You just have to rotate exercises in a way that makes sense. By that, I mean you could do bench press on Monday. On Tuesday, you could do push-ups. On Tuesday, you could do dumbbell flies, pec deck, something a little bit lighter. On Wednesday, you could do dumbbell bench. On Thursday, you could do barrel press. So how you rotate it is very, very important. My scale generally wouldn't work this morning, so you didn't get a weight. Yeah, it just felt like not working, right? Big John Paul, how's it going? Changed my program from 3 times a week full body to full body on Monday, Wednesday, and back, legs on Friday, chest, arms on Saturday. My legs were once the biggest, but now upper body is bigger. Any tips? Well, that is a testament to the effort you put in on your upper body. So that is wonderful work. If you are able to build one body part, you are able to build another body part, unless you have a physical issue. So that is a positive thing. I don't really have anything generically I can contribute, other than I would like to know the difference between your arm and leg size flex currently, if you have that, just for reference. Barbell Bryce, how long is a reasonable length of time to expect to add 1 rep to your top set? Depends on your strength levels. If you're pretty darn strong, benching 250 or over, 1 rep a month is going to equate to 5 to 6 pounds to your bench a month, or 60 to your bench in a year. So it could be 4, 6, 8 weeks at that level. Jay, what could be some helpful thoughts to be patient with the process? Enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it, trust it. If you doubt your workout, if you doubt the process, that is a cancer, okay? So you will have to ground yourself at some point in the reality that those that are big and strong have been doing it for a very, very long time. If you are just in it to win it, just want the results, and you don't enjoy the process, then, hey, we all want results quick. But the quickest way to get results is to crush the process and to trust the process. Does that make sense? Big Dan White Jr. Hello, big, hairy, ugly dude. I have experienced some days or weeks where I cannot lift as heavy as the day or week before. That can be normal. It's not a cause for concern, but we want to make sure your nutrition is on track, and sleep is on track, and everything's on track. So generically, I can say it's not a cause for concern, but we still need to look at the variables. So if you want me to look at the variables, the first thing I would look at is nutrition consistent? along those lines, is your meal timing consistent, right? Are you eating about the same time each day, especially relative to when you're working out? How is sleep? How is stress? Um, how is water intake? How is electrolyte intake? All those kind of good things. I think just give yourself a huge pat on the back for working hard. Absolutely. Big Thomas Mitchell, congrats on your invitation to speak at ABC Trainerize. Thank you. I already spoke. I actually already did. It's pre-recorded. Trainerize, the largest training app in the world, voted me the coach of the year this year, the trainer of the year. I beat out 400,000 other coaches and trainers. It's a huge honor. I can't even believe it. It seems awkward for me to say that, right? To say, hey, I won the most ultimate award there is to win. It seems weird to say. But they did vote me coach trainer of the year. Over 400,000 other coaches on their platform. It is a huge honor to win that. Unspeakable. To say there wasn't a couple times where I was teary-eyed when I heard it, man, I was like, boo-boo baby. Like, me? What? It was very exciting. And they asked me to speak. They have on June 5th, I'll be recording of my speech. Will be online at their collective. We already recorded it. I did something with two other coaches about how to help other coaches and trainers generate money during the summer. Okay. So that was more of the specific topic because the summer is kind of the slowdown period for coaches and trainers. So they asked me to speak on that. And I tried doing that. Try to get as much it was a 50-minute speech, right? And yeah, two other people. So I contributed as much as I could. It's good feeling when you look at the numbers like 6 months ago. If progress seems slow or weekly, yeah, absolutely. That's why we measure our arm size. That's why we measure our leg size. That's why we measure and track our workouts. Because the first thing I will say to someone that thinks they have plateaued, number one, are you tracking? Number two, if so, let's look at the data and see where we've come. Socks and food. Yep. Socks and food, sacks and food, both more important than plus ones. Is 6 to 8 reps too low for a Bulgarian split squat? 6, you're getting a little lowish. If you did more sets, yes. But then you have a unilateral. I wouldn't go lower than 8 on a lift like that. Learning to play saxophone, got it, 100%. And Bryce, you have a good question coming up about the Zoom call, so hang tough. Is it okay? And I got about 6 questions next, so if you guys have any questions, get them in now. If not, I'm going to be hopping off. Is it okay to do a 6 to 8 rep exercise after a 12 to 15? Yeah, you can do whatever makes sense as long as it makes logical sense. And it doesn't leave you scratching your head. But even then, like if you want to do like dumbbell flies or pec deck in a higher range as a pre-fatigue before bench, you could as long as you adjusted your bench wisely. Big Johnny Miles, I like your straightforwardness, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. Do you have any certain thoughts on? Do you have certain thoughts or rituals before lifting? I used to really at my strongest and biggest. I mean, right now, coaching is my main priority. So I still lift hard and heavy relatively, but I wouldn't say it's with the same degree of intensity. That doesn't mean it's boring or unfulfilling, but back then I would have the loud music, the same playlist, just going strong. Back then I was very emotional when it came to training. like a +1 really, really meant something. A lot of times I'd be up thinking about the next day's workout. So I would really have a ritual with music. And if I was in a commercial gym, it would be earbuds and don't bleep and talk to me. I'm in my place. I do not want to hear about it. I respect you. I don't want to talk about what I'm doing. We can talk when I'm done. We are getting in and we're doing business. Those were my biggest. On Mondays, the bench traffic is a disaster. A lot of my clients are running into the same thing, and I'm sorry to hear that. Big Justin Jones. Should we count time between each side of unilateral? No. You can, but there's no need. We want to work hard. It'll be relatively equal. And each unilateral exercise is different, but when you feel physically and mentally ready to go again, then go again. I speak for everyone when I say thank you so much for your time, advice, support, and passion. It's refreshing and needed. We love you and hate you. Thank you, man. It does mean a lot. I mean, I will not be shy about saying, I'm a sap. Like, things like this mean something to me because I pour my heart into my work, and that to some people, that's they might think that's funny, but this is my life's work. And for better or worse, this is everything I do from sun up to sundown. Is I try to help people. And I do appreciate it more than you guys know when I get feedback like this. Okay. Could we do a Zoom call? Okay, this is coming. I posted on Team Massive that I will be opening a secondary group, kind of a tier. Team Massive is going to stay Team Massive. It's the inner circle. You get form checks and chat and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to be opening up a lower tier for folks that's going to have some educational materials. And we're going to do a weekly Zoom call on there. So everybody can chime in and we can talk about their topics face to face. People want to listen, they can listen. But I'm going to be opening that up very, very soon. So stay tuned. It's almost done as we speak. I actually recorded a course on the Massive Iron Pillars of Success, and it is a 3-hour course. Okay. And I'm going through the videos, editing them one by one. Would you add an arm day if you had small arms? You could, yeah. At the end, like a fifth day, you could add a fifth day arm day. You absolutely could. Hadn't had enough punishment for the day, so watching the last 30 minutes while doing tomorrow's ab work. Well, you're ahead of schedule. That way you get a free Saturday. Big Mike. Good morning, Team Master. Good morning, Mike. Last call, guys. I got 3 questions, so get them in now. Building massive trapezoids, ideal rep range for shrugs. Mike, I don't know if you tried my massive shrugs protocol, but basically we do 8 reps where they're more mind muscly. You control them up, hold for a split second, then down. After that, then you finish off with as many power shrugs as you can till you curse my name. That's one thing I've been doing lately with a lot of clients. We start with the mind muscle, and then we do the power shrugs. You could also do like the power shrug hell, where you do 8 reps with 135 and then bump weight up to 185 and do 8 reps and then bump weight up to 225 and do 8 reps, and we kind of ride it all the way up. You can do that 5, 6, or 8 reps, whatever makes more sense for you. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Really just echoing what Bryce said, far better than I could. Your passion for what you do and your genuine desire to help other people is incredible. We love and appreciate you so much. Thank you. It means a lot. Every day I got to get up on a Friday and hope someone shows up with questions, because I just want what I do to be able to help somebody. And this is kind of a weird medium where you don't control who shows up, right? But truly, it means a lot. I'm glad to have you guys here. Robert, last call, guys. Last call. This is the last one. Do you have any tips on getting to benching 4 or 5 that differ from your tips? The biggest thing, like you can get the 315 pretty much just doing conventional power building, conventional lifting. Once you get to that next level of strength, you're going to have to try a lot of stuff, and some of it will not work. Some of it you'll invest a lot of time in, and it simply won't work. You can add chains and think it's going to make a big deal, and you can invest a lot of time in it and invest money in it. Maybe it doesn't do anything, right? You could do a 6-month tricep specialization, and maybe it doesn't do anything. But you have to try things. The biggest thing I would try would be lower rep work, okay? At least once a week. Frequency, definitely. The biggest thing that skyrocketed my lifts from pretty darn strong to what the bleep was doing heavy work multiple times a week. I would on bench press, based on how I felt during warm-ups, I'd work up to a single, double, triple, quad, or 5, whatever weight I felt like, and then I'd do back down work on that day. On squats, it was the same. Some days I'd work up to a 600 by 4 or 5 rep set. Some days I'd go for a 645 double. It all depended on how I felt that day, and then I'd do a couple back off sets. But I had to get under heavy weight and low reps frequently. That was probably one of the cornerstones that helped me go from pretty darn strong to pretty darn strong, if that makes sense. All right, guys, before I hop off, just a few logistical things. If you want to post up a question now while I'm doing my spiel, go right ahead. But I want you guys to please head over to Instagram, follow me at Ben the Barman. You can DM me at any time with questions. We have teammassiveiron.com. Please join the team. Super Living Today, check the coaching tab. I ran a $6.99 yearly special. I had a lot of people sign up, a lot of my existing clients, and that was really, really cool. But if you are interested in coaching, I'm still going to be running that probably through the end, probably through the 4th of July, the $6.99 special, until my app alpha tests. My app is in alpha testing. So if you want coaching, you can just fill out the tab and we can talk a little bit about it. I'll never pressure you. I have some really good workouts over here. Check out the Massive Collection. If you pre-order my new book, Massive Omnibus, and you can just search Massive Omnibus here or go to the book section or ebook section on my website. If you pre-order, you get the Massive Collection for free, which is 354 pages of workouts. You get Massive Bulking for free, which is like my 60-page PDF on how to bulk properly. And you get the original Massive Iron ebook for free. So you get basically $60 to $70 worth of value for free when you pre-order my upcoming book, which should be available around July 4th. All right, guys, that is it. I appreciate you guys joining me. Please come back every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. We're pretty snappy today, but sometimes the questions don't involve a lot of long-winded babbling on my part. I will say one of the things I'm working on next, and look for this next week in content or maybe this weekend, is I'm working on structuring specialization workouts. And I'm going to be turning that into video, but this is also material I'm putting into my book. How do we structure specialization workouts? What are the ways of structuring them? For example, you can structure them by keeping your same current volume and reworking that volume to focus on back or arms or whatever. You can add a day and open the door for additional volume. We can do unconventional additions on specialization. One of the ways I'm looking at I'm looking at ways to do unconventional specialization programs. One of the interesting ways I'm looking at doing one, for example, is on back. So on back, instead of just arbitrarily adding volume, I'm going to have 2 back days a week. One of the back days is going to be focused on rowing and deadlifting, and the other is going to be on lats. We're going to hammer the snot out of lats. We're going to do dumbbell pullovers. We're going to do lat prayers. We're going to do lat pull downs. We're going to do dumbbell focused rows. We're going to really hit our lats hard in one workout. So we're going to have a horizontal pull day and a vertical pull day, and we're really going to focus on back specialization. So I'm trying to put together some very unconventional back specialization programs for my book. All right, guys, I love each and every one of you, and I appreciate you joining. We will see you next week. Please come back at 11 a.m. Eastern.
It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.